Some of the healthiest, longest-living people on Earth are not following trendy diets. They are not taking expensive supplements. They are not visiting longevity clinics. They are eating plants, specific plants, plants that have been part of Japanese culture for over 1,000 years. And scientists are now documenting what Japanese grandmothers have known for centuries, that these plants are linked to slower aging, sharper minds, dramatically lower rates of heart disease, and lifespans that routinely cross 100 years. Most of them you can grow in your own garden, starting today. The Western approach to health and aging has a fundamental problem. We're always chasing the next miracle superfood from some remote jungle, the next supplement backed by a celebrity, the next clinical intervention that costs more than most people make in a month. And meanwhile, Japan has been quietly perfecting the art of eating for longevity for centuries, not with anything exotic or expensive, with plants. Grown in gardens, simmered in kitchens, eaten daily in simple meals that most Westerners would walk right past at the grocery store without a second look. Okinawa has more centenarians per capita than almost any place on Earth. Japan consistently ranks among the highest life expectancy nations globally. This is not genetics, it is documented food culture. And the 20 plants at the center of that culture are what this video is about. One more thing before we get into the list. The farmers and homesteaders turning these plants into specialty crop income, the growing guides, the buyer networks, the income models are all in the Millionaire Farmer Guide, link in the description. Now, let's get into the plants. Plant 1, shiso. Most Westerners have never heard of it. Every Japanese grandmother knows it by heart. Shiso, also called perilla leaf, is one of the most beloved herbs in Japanese cuisine. You find it wrapped around sushi, tucked into salads, floated in soups. But shiso is not just a garnish, it is a medicinal plant hiding in plain sight. Perilla frutescens contains rosmarinic acid, one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory compounds ever studied. Clinical research has demonstrated that perilla extracts suppress allergic responses, reduce oxidative stress, and protect cells from the kind of damage that accelerates aging. Here's the growing angle that makes this extraordinary. Shiso grows like a weed. Plant it once in your garden and it self-seeds year after year, giving you a renewable supply of one of the most documented anti-aging herbs on the planet without any further effort on your part. The Japanese have been eating it daily for centuries. Modern science is finally catching up to what they always knew, and it is waiting for you to plant it. Plant 2, daikon. This giant white radish is everywhere in Japan, grated, pickled, simmered in soups, served raw alongside nearly every meal. Most Westerners walk right past it in the grocery store without knowing what they are missing. Raphanus sativus var longipinatus is loaded with digestive enzymes, particularly diastase and amylase, that help your body break down food more efficiently. It's rich in vitamin C, potassium, and isothiocyanates that research has linked to reduced inflammation and potential anti-cancer effects. In traditional Japanese medicine, daikon is considered essential for digestive health and detoxification. Modern studies support this, showing that cruciferous vegetables like daikon support liver function and help the body eliminate toxins more effectively. One plant can produce a root weighing several pounds. It stores well, grows reliably in most climates, and the people who live the longest on Earth eat it nearly every day. That correlation is worth paying attention to. Plant 3, edamame. You know it from the appetizer menu at the sushi restaurant, but young soybeans are far more than a snack in Japan. They're a cornerstone of a diet that produces some of the lowest rates of heart disease and age-related illness in the world. Edamame is packed with complete protein, fiber, and isoflavones, plant compounds that research has shown support bone density, cardiovascular health, and hormonal balance. Studies suggest regular consumption of soy isoflavones is associated with reduced risk of certain age-related conditions. Japanese women who consume soy daily have significantly lower rates of menopausal symptoms compared to Western populations. Here's the homestead angle. Edamame is remarkably easy to grow. It fixes nitrogen in the soil as it grows, making your garden more productive for everything else planted alongside it. It's a crop that feeds you and improves your land simultaneously. That's the definition of a good investment. Plant 4, gobo. This long, dark, woody burdock root looks completely unappetizing. It's been used in Japanese cooking and traditional medicine for centuries, and modern research is revealing exactly why. Arctium lapa is rich in inulin, a prebiotic fiber that feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. Research increasingly links gut microbiome health to immune function, skin aging, and cognitive decline. Gobo also contains powerful antioxidants like quercetin and luteolin that protect cells from oxidative damage. Traditional Japanese herbalists called gobo a blood purifier. Modern science translates that to liver support and improved detoxification pathways. It's a biennial plant that grows straightforwardly in loose, deep soil. The roots need room to develop their characteristic length. Prepare your bed deeply and they reward you. Gobo is the unglamorous root vegetable quietly keeping people healthy into their 90s. Almost nobody outside Japan is eating it. That's not their wisdom, it's their loss. Plant 5, miyoga. Most people know ginger. Almost nobody in the West knows miyoga, ginger's lesser-known Japanese cousin that produces fragrant flower buds used as a garnish and condiment throughout Japan. Zingiber miyoga contains compounds with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties similar to regular ginger, but with its own distinct phytochemical profile that researchers are actively studying. Here's the gardening detail that makes this plant remarkable for homesteaders. Miyoga grows beautifully in shade. It's perfect for those tricky corners of your garden where nothing else will thrive. North-facing beds, spots under tree canopy, areas that stay consistently damp. And it's a perennial that returns year after year with almost no maintenance. You plant it once, it comes back indefinitely, in the exact spots where nothing else is growing. The best superfoods are not always the ones making headlines. Sometimes they're the quiet ones growing in the shade where everyone else gave up. Plant 6, shiitake. Shiitake mushrooms have been cultivated in Japan for over 1,000 years. They weren't just food, they were medicine, and the science now documents why that distinction was always correct. Lentinula ecodis contains lentinan, a compound studied extensively for immune-modulating effects, significant enough that in Japan, lentinan is used as an adjunct in certain medical protocols. Beyond immune support, shiitake mushrooms are rich in B vitamins, selenium, and eridanine, a compound shown in studies to support healthy cholesterol levels. They're also one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D when exposed to sunlight. Here's the homestead connection that makes this immediately actionable. You can grow shiitake mushrooms on hardwood logs in your backyard starting this season. One inoculated log produces mushrooms for 3 to 5 years. Low maintenance, no sunlight required, a steady supply of one of the most studied anti-aging foods in the world from a shaded corner of your property. The mushroom earned its nickname for documented reasons, and you can grow it yourself.
Plant 7. Wakame. The seaweed in your miso soup is doing more than flavoring the broth. Underrea pinnatifida is exceptionally rich in iodine, critical for thyroid function, and fucoxanthin, a carotenoid pigment that researchers are actively studying for its potential effects on metabolism and cellular health. Studies have shown fucoxanthin from wakame has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that continue to generate significant scientific interest. Japanese coastal populations who consume seaweed regularly have notably lower rates of thyroid disorders and certain cancers compared to Western populations. Wakame also provides calcium, magnesium, and folate in highly bioavailable forms. You cannot grow wakame in your garden, but understanding its role in the Japanese longevity diet is essential because it represents something important. The Japanese approach to food covers every nutritional base, including minerals from the ocean that land-based diets consistently miss. Wakame has been part of the Japanese diet for over 10,000 years. That track record speaks for itself. Plant 8. Umeboshi. These intensely sour and salty pickled Japanese plums have been a staple for over 1,000 years, often eaten with rice or used as a digestive aid. In traditional Japanese medicine, they were considered a cure-all. Modern research is finding reasons to agree. Prunus mume contains citric acid that supports energy metabolism, along with polyphenols and compounds that demonstrate antibacterial properties in studies. Studies have demonstrated ume fruit extracts have antioxidant activity and may support liver function. Here's the homesteader angle. Japanese ume trees are beautiful ornamentals that also produce the fruit for making umeboshi at home. They bloom with stunning flowers in late winter when almost nothing else is flowering, and then fill your pantry in summer. One tree, spring beauty, summer harvest, year-round use. Japanese warriors carried umeboshi into battle for sustained energy and endurance. It still delivers the same benefits today. Plant 8. Umeboshi. These intensely sour and salty pickled Japanese plums have been a staple for over 1,000 years, often eaten with rice or used as a digestive aid. In traditional Japanese medicine, they were considered a cure-all. Modern research is finding reasons to agree. Prunus mume contains citric acid that supports energy metabolism, along with polyphenols and compounds that demonstrate antibacterial properties in studies. Studies have demonstrated ume fruit extracts have antioxidant activity and may support liver function. Here's the homesteader angle. Japanese ume trees are beautiful ornamentals that also produce the fruit for making umeboshi at home. They bloom with stunning flowers in late winter when almost nothing else is flowering, and then fill your pantry in summer. One tree, spring beauty, summer harvest, year-round use. Japanese warriors carried umeboshi into battle for sustained energy and endurance. It still delivers the same benefits today. Plant 9. Natto. Let's be direct about this. Natto is challenging. Fermented soybeans with a strong smell, a sticky, stringy texture, and a flavor that divides people immediately. But natto may be the single most powerful cardiovascular food ever documented. Natto contains nattokinase, an enzyme that research has shown supports healthy blood circulation and cardiovascular function. Clinical studies have investigated nattokinase for its fibrinolytic activity, meaning it actively supports healthy blood flow. Natto is also extraordinarily rich in vitamin K2, which plays a critical role in directing calcium into bones and out of arteries. Regions of Japan where natto consumption is highest consistently show some of the lowest rates of cardiovascular issues documented anywhere. The soybeans used to make natto are straightforward to grow in a home garden. The fermentation process can be done at home with minimal equipment. The barrier is entirely about palatability, not accessibility. The people who eat it regularly are the ones keeping their cardiovascular systems clean and functional well into old age. That is the entire pitch. Plant 11. Shingiku, edible chrysanthemum. In the West, chrysanthemums are flowers. In Japan, they're dinner. Shingiku greens are a common vegetable used in hot pots, stir-fries, and salads, and their nutritional profile is far more impressive than their ornamental reputation suggests. Glabionus coronaria is rich in beta-carotene, potassium, and a range of unique flavonoids that research has explored for antioxidant and neuroprotective properties. These greens grow quickly, tolerate cool weather remarkably well, and can be harvested multiple times from a single planting before the plant bolts and sets seed. Shingiku is the kind of food that slips entirely under the radar because Western gardening books classify it as a flower. In Japan, it's a vegetable that has been nourishing people for generations. The most powerful plants are sometimes the ones we've been looking at completely wrong. Plant 12. Kombu. Kombu is the kelp that forms the foundation of dashi, the broth underlying almost all Japanese cooking. It's also the food responsible for the discovery of umami, the fifth taste. But kombu's contribution to longevity goes beyond flavor. Saccharina japonica is extraordinarily rich in minerals, particularly iodine, iron, calcium, and magnesium. It contains fucoidin, a sulfated polysaccharide that researchers have been investigating for potential immune-modulating and anti-inflammatory effects, generating significant scientific interest. Okinawa, the region of Japan famous for having more centenarians per capita than almost anywhere on Earth, has traditionally consumed significant amounts of kombu. Multiple studies have linked this pattern to their extraordinary longevity outcomes. That's not a coincidence. It's a dietary signal worth following.
Plant 13, Satsuma Imo. This is the one I want you to pay close attention to. The Japanese purple sweet potato is believed to be one of the single most important dietary factors behind Okinawan longevity. Traditionally, sweet potatoes made up roughly 60% of the Okinawan diet. Okinawa has more centenarians per capita than almost any place on the planet. The purple-fleshed varieties are loaded with anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that research has linked to reduced inflammation, improved cardiovascular health, and neuroprotective effects. Studies on Okinawan populations have found that their traditional sweet potato-heavy diet is associated with longevity outcomes that researchers describe as remarkable. Here is what makes this immediately actionable for every person watching. Sweet potatoes are one of the easiest, most productive crops you can grow in a home garden. They thrive in warm weather. They store beautifully for months. They produce abundantly per square foot. There is no crop on this list with a better combination of nutritional power, documented longevity association, and ease of home production. The food that may hold the single biggest dietary secret to living past 100 is available at your local garden center for a few dollars per slip. Plant it this spring. That is the entire instruction. Plant 14, azuki beans. Small red beans that appear in Japanese cuisine from sweet desserts to savory celebratory dishes. But these humble beans carry nutritional data that demands attention. Vigna angularis is rich in polyphenols, particularly proanthocyanidins with strong antioxidant activity. Studies have shown that azuki bean extracts have some of the highest antioxidant activity measured among beans. They are also an excellent source of complete protein, fiber, folate, and minerals. In Japanese folk medicine, azuki beans were used to support kidney and liver health. The modern research on the compounds responsible for these traditional uses is generating continued scientific interest. They grow well in home gardens in warm weather and are harvested and dried like any other bean. The barrier to growing them is essentially zero. Azuki proves that you do not need exotic, expensive superfoods to age well. Sometimes it is the simple, traditional foods eaten consistently across generations that matter most. Plant 15, mitsuba. Japanese wild parsley is a delicate herb used as a garnish in soups, egg dishes, and sashimi, with a subtle, complex flavor unlike anything in Western herb gardens. Cryptotania japonica contains unique volatile compounds, vitamins, and minerals that traditional Japanese herbalism used for respiratory and digestive support for centuries. The growing characteristics make this particularly valuable for homesteaders with challenging spaces. Mitsuba is shade-tolerant, perennial in mild climates, and self-seeds readily. It thrives in exactly the spots where most herbs fail: shaded, moist, partially covered areas under trees or along north-facing walls. In Japan, it is as common as parsley is in the West. Almost nobody in Western gardening is growing it. That means you're discovering it while the window to be an early adopter is still open. Plant 16, wasabi. Let us be clear about something first. The green paste at almost every sushi restaurant in the United States is not wasabi. It is horseradish with food coloring. Real wasabi, Wasabia japonica, is one of the most difficult crops on earth to cultivate, which is why it sells for up to $200 per pound fresh. And that difficulty is exactly why the income opportunity for the farmers who grow it is extraordinary. But the health angle is equally compelling. Real wasabi contains isothiocyanates that research has shown have potent anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. Studies have investigated wasabi compounds for their potential to support cellular health and reduce oxidative stress. The fake version contains none of these compounds in meaningful quantities. Growing real wasabi requires cool, shaded, consistently moist conditions, specific microclimate requirements that most growers cannot meet. The farmers who can meet them are commanding $70 to $120 per pound from restaurant buyers who cannot find a reliable domestic source anywhere. The world thinks it knows wasabi. It does not. The real thing is rare, precious, and medically powerful in ways the imitation cannot approach. Plant 17, Goya. Bitter melon is an Okinawan staple, and yes, it is intensely bitter. That bitterness is precisely what makes it medically remarkable. Momordica charantia has been studied extensively for its effects on blood sugar regulation. Clinical research has demonstrated that bitter melon contains compounds that may support healthy glucose metabolism in ways that continue to interest researchers studying metabolic health and longevity. It is also rich in vitamin C, folate, and a range of phytochemicals with antioxidant properties. Okinawans eat it regularly as part of their traditional diet, a diet associated with lifespans that routinely cross 100 years. Goya grows as a vigorous vine in warm climates, producing prolifically through summer. Many Japanese gardeners grow it as a living green curtain over windows, providing shade, food, and medicine simultaneously from the same plant. One vine, 3 simultaneous functions. That is the kind of efficiency medieval monks would have recognized immediately. Plant 18, Ashitaba. Ashitaba literally means tomorrow's leaf. When you pick one, a new leaf grows back the next day. That regenerative quality is not just poetic, it reflects something real about what this plant does at a cellular level. Angelica cascae contains chalcones, particularly 4-hydroxyderacin, that researchers have been studying with genuine excitement. A study published in a leading scientific journal found that this compound promotes autophagy, the body's natural cellular cleanup process that recycles damaged cell components. This process declines significantly with age, and finding natural compounds that support it is a major focus of current anti-aging research. Ashitaba is native to the Hachijo Island of Japan, where it has been consumed for centuries by a population known for exceptional health and longevity. The plant grows as a vigorous perennial in mild climates, with large, attractive leaves that can be harvested regularly for juice, tea, or cooking. This is not mainstream yet, the research is still building, but if it continues in the current direction, Ashitaba will become one of the most discussed plants in longevity science, and you could already have it growing in your garden before that conversation reaches mainstream awareness. Plant 19, Matcha. Stone-ground, shade-grown green tea may be the single most studied anti-aging compound on Earth, and you can grow the tea plant at home. Camellia sinensis, when shade-grown and ground into matcha, produces a concentration of catechins, particularly EGCG, that dwarfs regular green tea. We are talking about one of the most researched antioxidants in nutritional science. Thousands of studies have investigated EGCG for its effects on cellular health, metabolic function, cognitive performance, and cardiovascular protection. Studies have linked regular green tea consumption to reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, improved cognitive function with aging, better metabolic health, and enhanced cellular protection against oxidative damage.
Japanese populations that consume green tea daily consistently show better health outcomes in large-scale studies. But matcha exceeds regular green tea because you are consuming the whole leaf, the full spectrum of compounds, fiber, and chlorophyll that steeping alone leaves behind. Camellia sinensis is an evergreen shrub that grows in many temperate climates. You can grow your own tea plants, shade them before harvest to boost chlorophyll and amino acid content, and process the leaves yourself. It's a long-term project that connects you directly to the most documented anti-aging tradition in Japanese culture. Matcha has been at the center of Japanese tea ceremony for over 800 years. The ceremony was the ritual. The science explains why the ritual worked. Plant 20, miso. Not a plant exactly, but made from plants, soybeans, rice, or barley, through a fermentation process that transforms simple ingredients into one of the most powerful gut health foods documented by science. In Japan, miso soup is consumed almost daily by millions of people across every age group and region. The fermentation process creates probiotics, enzymes, and bioavailable nutrients that research has linked to improved gut microbiome diversity, better digestion, and reduced risk of certain cancers. Large-scale studies following Japanese populations have found associations between regular miso consumption and lower risks of cardiovascular issues. Here's what connects this to the homestead. The soybeans and grains used to make miso are all crops you can grow in a home garden. Making your own miso at home is a tradition that Japanese families have kept alive for generations. The process requires only your ingredients, a vessel, salt, and time. It's the ultimate homesteader food. Daily gut-healing nutrition from ingredients you grew yourself, fermented through a process your great-grandparents would have recognized. Miso offers what it has offered for centuries: simple, daily, cumulative nourishment that compounds into extraordinary health over a lifetime. Japan's secret to longevity is not locked away in an expensive clinic. It's not in a supplement bottle. It's not in any intervention that requires money you don't have. It's in gardens, in kitchens, in simple daily meals that have been refined across 1,000 years of living closely with the land and the plants it produces. These 20 foods are not folklore or wishful thinking. They are legitimate, science-backed foods that real people eat every day in the country with one of the highest life expectancies on Earth. The research is finally catching up to what Japanese grandmothers always knew, and the plants are available right now to